that is posted at the Future Freedom Foundation website that you wrote.
Okay.
You start off by quoting H.L. Mencken, dividing America into those who work for a living and those who vote for a living, a division now truer than ever before. And I think most conservatives would take that to mean, people who have jobs versus people who are on welfare. But really, a lot of those jobs are voted into existence too, aren't they?
Absolutely, and it's more so the case than ever before. And it's sad that there isn't a taint. A lot of these jobs have been created simply because of political pull or government mandates or government fear-mongering.
Well, and so give me some percentages here. I mean,
37, 52.
Well, I mean specific ones. How many Americans work for the state or are dependent on state contracts or welfare payments or salaries of one kind or another versus the way it's supposed to be, for example?
The way it's supposed to be. The number of government employees has grown far faster than the number of private employees. The number of people on welfare is much greater than what people realize because some people try and pretend that only something like aid to families with dependent children's welfare, but there was far more other types of programs out there. There are some studies that have shown that there are more people either working for the government or getting government handouts than are working full-time in the private sector.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Already we're past that point where the pyramid's upside down.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, it works out well for the politicians because with the more people holding their hand out, the easier it is for politicians to buy votes and get reelected.
Right. That's funny because that's a conservative talking point about the liberals this, the liberals that, buying votes with government money. But they're the biggest welfare whores of all those Republicans, aren't they?
Well, I don't know if they're the biggest, but they're certainly far larger than what they pretended to be, and it's sad to see how the hypocrisy has been exposed in the last 7 years, and almost nobody gave a damn.
Yeah, I mean, most people would think, I guess, if you just asked them and they didn't really know details, they would probably think, well, sure, Bush has grown the government, but that's because of the war on terrorism. And that's not the rest of the government. He's a fiscal hawk, right?
It's sad that some people would still think that, I guess maybe John McCain's going to be trying to run for his third term of George Bush based on those kind of claims.
Right, yeah, I liked it when John McCain said, I agree with Ron Paul about spending. And everybody was just like, whatever, you do not.
Well, yeah, it's sad that he could say that and not get hooted down.
Well, I think there actually was some hooting on that one. It was just like, oh, please, here's a guy who wants to take an axe to the whole government. You're talking about the few $1 million bridge to nowhere that counts for nothing compared to the rest of this.
Well, and the thing about John McCain and most of the GOP establishment is that they've favored unlimited spending for the so-called war on terror and for Bush's foreign invasions, and that has destroyed any hope of having a federal spending under control.
Yeah. Hey, tell us about FEMA. I like this story about during 2004 when there were some hurricanes. FEMA came out and just started writing checks to everybody, and it basically said for vote in the corner of the check there at the bottom.
Yeah, Florida was a key swing state back in the 2004 election, and thanks to FEMA and 4 hurricanes and storms, Florida residents got more FEMA handouts than any state in history. Now, back in 2005, the FEMA Inspector General went in there and found that FEMA had used a standard that would make a drunken sailor blush. Basically, if someone called in and claimed his bed was damaged by a FEMA recognized adverse weather incident, FEMA insisted on sending that person a check to buy an entire new large bedroom suite.
Nice. Free money, right?
Well, that's true. And they were saying that there were, they had all these terrible storms, but there was one case where the storms never exceeded 45 miles per hour, but FEMA still went in there and threw money around. There was a case 4,000 people received more than $8 million to rent temporary housing, even though none of them had asked for aid and had little or no home damage. This is not the same standard the IRS uses if they're going after somebody.
No, it's not. What's the difference there?
Well, the IRS assumes that you're guilty, and the FEMA assumes that since you were living and breathing that you deserve money.
Yeah, like you had a line in here somewhere about you can't just call an 800 number and tell them, oh, no, don't worry, I don't have any taxable income.
Yeah.
They won't quite let you get away with that, will they?
Well, it's never worked for me.
Yeah, no, afraid not. All right, so there's a couple of other pieces of police state news I wanted to get to here. I don't know if you saw this. New Jersey court upholds extreme force in DUI blood draws. And so apparently there was already a law that said that the cops could take your blood on the side of the road. But now in this court ruling, New Jersey Superior Court decision, they've decided that if the cops give you permanent nerve damage in your arm because of the brute force that they use in, getting that blood sample from you, then that's perfectly fine as long as they're on the clock and, tough for you. They can commit any crime against you, apparently, that they feel like on the side of the road.
Well, this is one more reason why I'm not a big fan of New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
there are other reasons besides that one?
Well, Scott, I don't know how much time you spend hitchhiking on the Jersey Turnpike, but, I don't recommend it.
See, man, I'm just bummed because I haven't figured out something funny enough to say yet to make you do your laugh, man. I'm trying to find something. And that worked a little bit there.
Well, yeah. Well, I reckon the laugh will come back later. What the hell?
All right, there you go. Well, this is funny. This is hilarious, Jim. No evidence needed under terror profiling plan. Who you are, where you travel, could make you FBI target. Here goes official policy, fishing expedition. Everybody's guilty until you're cleared.
Where's this story from?
This is the Associated Press. Lara Jakes Jordan, July 3rd, 2008. Justice Department is considering letting the FBI investigate Americans without any evidence of wrongdoing, relying instead on a terrorist profile that could single out Muslims, Arabs, or other racial and ethnic groups.
There was a follow-up 2 days later to that story. Did you see it?
I missed.
It turns out skateboarders are also on the list.
Oh, no, not skateboarders.
Feds are coming after you, dude.
That's right in my profile, yeah. People who never go anywhere or do anything. We're dangerous.
Well, it's just surprising. The feds have found so few real terrorists during the last 7 years, and so basically what they keep doing is stretching the definition. It's like, paintballers or the boneheads in Miami or whatever.
Yeah, there's a brand new one like that. Paintball was practice, says Terracel Mole, and this is in Canada, but same difference anyway. The key player in the terrorist group, turns out he worked for the government, and swears that whenever they all went to play paintball, that was all practice for murdering civilians later.
Well, some days I almost doubt some of these government informants.
I know. I wonder why they would ever lie.
Well, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, whatever it would, it doesn't matter. The government's got the money, and they'll pay whatever it takes to get the testimony.
Yeah. Hey, back to the war here for a minute, Jim. How bad is this, or how much do you think that the war has to do with the state of the American economy? And I guess the fear is that it's only getting worse. I don't really know how those things work that well.
Well, I think it's a huge factor. A lot of people have lost confidence. Bush's Middle East policies added a huge amount to the price of gasoline. Too bad the media almost never mentions that. The government spending has driven down the dollar, and there's other factors that have just simply, Bush's wars have destroyed a lot of the world's confidence in the U.S. government and the U.S. dollar, and that's having a cascading impact on the economy. And plus, it's kind of hard to separate from all the other dumb things the government has done, like all the mortgage guarantees and all the encouragements to to make bad loans. This is boomerang. It's kind of hard to separate all the different types of damage the government has done.
Yeah, it really is hard, and I think the problem is this is the libertarian lesson that everybody else seems to miss or whatever, that when government does something that there will be unintended consequences, maybe intended ones too and what have you, but that there's always a further ripple effect that usually is a problem which can only be fixed by another government program or an expansion of the first one. Yep,
it's, and yet people don't seem to learn. People don't seem to learn from the government waste, from the government disruptions, and from the government crimes.
Yeah. Well, help explain it to him, Jim. What's the difference between government being able to act with such impunity and people in private business? I mean, it's not like they're all a bunch of saints or anything, but is it something about the built-in incentive structure there somehow where government just does nothing but succeed from failure, or what?